Hello again, this is Nigel from Mad About Animals. In this video I'd like to talk about plants feel pain. This is a comment that vegans quite often come across, particularly when they're talking to people in the street, doing street activism, that sort of thing, or whether you're arguing with someone or debating with someone on social media. Quite often a meat eater will come and say, well, plants feel pain. So let's look at this in a bit more detail. So why do people say plants feel pain? In my experience, the vast majority of times that people say this, it's the person's way of making you seem hypocritical. So we've been telling them about how animals feel pain, and that's why we shouldn't abuse them. And they come back and say, well, plants feel pain just the same as animals, so you're being hypocritical because you're abusing plants in the same way that I'm abusing animals. When I first started doing street activism, talking to people about veganism, quite often when I came up with this objection, I'd get sucked into the debate about whether or not plants can actually feel pain. And I'd be talking about the ability for plants to feel pain or not, whether they've got a central nervous system and all those sorts of things. And then before you know it, you're having a full-on debate about the science of whether or not plants can feel pain. And that's taking you away from the main goal, which is veganism, animal rights. So what I do more often than not these days is I try my best to put that to one side. So I say to the person, okay, while I do not accept that plants have the capacity to feel pain in the way that we understand it, because they don't have a central nervous system and all that sort of thing, it's true that they do respond to certain stimuli, but that's not the same as feeling pain at all. So you cannot honestly tell me that pulling a carrot out of the ground and slicing the carrot is in any way comparable to slitting the throat of a cow and cutting her legs off. There is just no comparison at all. And you cannot look me in the eye and tell me that those two things are comparable. But let us put all that to one side. For the sake of this discussion, let us accept that plants do actually feel pain, and that they feel pain to the same degree, in the same way, in the same level that animals feel pain. As a vegan, I feel that I must do everything I can to minimise suffering, to minimise as much suffering as possible so that my actions have the fewest victims, my actions cause the least harm to the fewest victims. If I eat animals, those animals will have eaten plants. If I just eat the plants, then I actually cause fewer plants to suffer. Because I can eat the plants direct, I can get the protein, etc. from those plants. I'm not filtering through a third party, I'm not filtering through animals. So vegans actually cause the deaths, suffering of fewer plants because we're eating the plants direct. So as a meat eater, you're actually causing more harm to more plants. So if you do genuinely believe that plants feel pain, then to minimise that pain, to minimise that suffering, to the fewest plants possible, you should still be vegan. So when you say that plants feel pain, you're actually arguing for veganism, not against it. And then you're back into the discussion about animal rights and about how veganism minimises suffering. You're not getting into a scientific or moral discussion as to whether or not plants can actually feel pain. You put that to one side. Even if they do feel pain, you want to cause the least pain to the fewest sufferers. To do that, you have to be vegan. If you've enjoyed this, please like, share and subscribe. Also, if you have any other questions, any other topics that you'd like us to cover, please add them to the comments. Thank you.